Welcome back, coffee lovers. Today we're diving into the Fellow Aiden Precision Coffee Maker. This is an automatic pour-over coffee machine, and it'll make as little as 1 cup of coffee all the way up to 7 or 8 cups of coffee. And whether you're a total beginner, or you're wanting a versatile multitasker of a coffee machine, or a coffee nerd like me looking to push the boundaries and are interested in how to bend extraction to chase flavors, this machine has you covered. And we'll explore it from each of those angles today, learning what makes this a very capable home coffee brewer. And if you come to enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button and certainly subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. All right, let's get into it. So let's begin by going through a simple brew using the Fellow Aiden. And we'll start by filling up the 1.5 litre water tank. Now, this is set on the side and is removable, which I think is a fantastic design choice from Fellow. From the standpoint, you have easy access to this water tank, either by filling it up from the top or even just pulling it out from the side. You don't need all that much clearance to get access to this water tank. Now, from the main menu, you have 2 very straightforward options to get you started. First, you come to Instant Brew. Now, this will jump you straight into brewing a full tank's worth of water, or however much water you have in the tank, using 96 degrees Celsius brew water. This being like how you would start using a Mocha Master brewer, for example. Though the Aiden does have a bloom or pre-infusion function built in as default as well. Also noteworthy for the Instant Brew is through the advanced settings, you can adjust the Instant Brew cycle to however you brew your coffee 99% of the time. That way, you're not having to jump deep into the settings every time you want to go use the Aiden if you're looking for more than just the default settings. Does that make sense? And I think this would work really well in a share house or office scenario quite well, where really the 2 things you want to do are fill the tank up, throw the coffee in, and press start. Now, the second easy option, and this is the one if it's not always certain how much coffee you want to make, is the guided brew option. Select this, then select the style of roast that you have. This can usually be found on the coffee bag, but if you're not sure, just go medium. Then it guides you to choose the volume of the coffee that you want to brew. This ranging from 1 to 10 cups of coffee. Noting here that 1 cup is equal to 150 mils of coffee, which isn't really a full cup, but we'll move on. You'll notice how the decal changes in the display when you go bigger. This is letting you know which basket you should be using. So you get 2 baskets with the Fellow Aiden as well. One is a cone style using a flat bottom cone filter, and it has a max capacity of around 26 grams of coffee or 5.5 tablespoons. Or then there's the wide flat bottom basket using a wide flat bottom filter with a capacity of around 85 grams of coffee or 16.5 tablespoons of coffee. Now, once you've chosen your basket, it'll prompt you with how much coffee you should place inside said basket. Noting here, it never tells you to add the filter paper. Just know that's an important part. So we add the basket, we add the filter, we add the coffee, we close the lid, and then what does this mean? Well, with different baskets, you have varying requirements for water distribution across the surface area of the basket. And what I mean by that is, with a larger basket, it needs water getting delivered out further, and then vice versa with a smaller basket, you really want the water delivered in a narrow path. So the Fellow Aiden has a switchable water head selector under the lid. This is tailored to the basket that you're using. And you'll see what's present here is symbolism and color coding, which I think they've really nailed here. So if things do get a little bit confusing still, you can always default to playing match it up. Now, once you've switched it over to the correct one, place the lid down and it'll brew away. Amazing. Now, up until this point, we've been brewing straight into the stainless steel 1.5 litre Fellow carafe. This is a thermo-style jug that does keep your coffee deliciously warm for a couple of hours and is really easy pouring out of. However, if you're brewing, say, only 1 to 2 cups of coffee, and or perhaps want to serve it in a more stylish glass server, you can. And the Fellow Aiden handles this quite well, noting that smaller cups may splash a little bit during brewing. Next up, editing profiles. Now, this takes you into the possibility of adjusting things just how you like it. and even gaining some control that you wouldn't generally get from manually brewing your coffee in a pour over situation. You see, the Fellow Aiden is quite good at heating water quickly and to an accurate temperature, both quite rare to achieve as a combination. And it does this using a thermocoil. And then from this, you can program multiple pours at different temperatures. And here, I'll give you an example. I'm going to set up a custom profile. I'm going to name this Josh's Drip. Now, I'm going to bypass the default temperature and then stick with a brew ratio of 1:16. This is pretty standard. Then I'm going to go into advanced settings and choose the bloom or pre-infusion. Here I'm going to increase my bloom to a 1:3 ratio. And this means if I add 15 grams of coffee, the machine will bloom with 45 mils of hot water. The duration, I'll increase this. I tend to go for a longer hold of around 45, maybe 50 seconds. And then I'm going to hit this with 98 degrees Celsius water. Ooh, controversy maybe. But I'm hitting that fresh coffee with some hot water to open it up and pull those sugars out early. Now we follow this with the 2 basket options. And since I'm making this one for me, I'm going to focus on the single serve. Here we get to choose the number of pours that come after the bloom. I'm going to go with 3. So with the bloom, that's 4 all up. And then I choose the time between pours or the pause between pours, hey? I'll take this to 40 seconds and then I'll adjust each consecutive pour to be slightly cooler than the one before it. And my theory here is I'm tailing off the extraction rate and then we save and exit. Batch brew settings are the same. And look, there's really nothing to suggest this is going to make amazing coffee every time. I really am just experimenting here. So let's now just set this up and see how it comes out, shall we? Now, whilst this is brewing, let's talk about a few of the quirks that I've noticed about the Fellow Aiden. First, the measurements displayed on the machine can be a little misleading. For instance, if it says it's going to brew 300 mils of coffee, you're not actually going to get 300 mils of coffee in your cup. It will be closer to around 260 mils, as the machine doesn't account for the water that's retained within the coffee grounds. And this can be a little bit of a surprise, especially if you're sharing your coffee amongst friends and trying to stretch it out evenly. Secondly, whilst there is the ability to program multiple pours at different temperatures, and this is a fantastic feature I'm no doubt going to use often, you can't control the amount of water that's dispensed within each pour. And it's not that this is a deal breaker, but it does mean you can't fully automate methods like the 4-6 pour over method, which would have been a nice touch and just the cherry on top. And then finally, let's address the elephant in the room. If it really is an elephant, I'm not sure, is its looks. Now, whilst I'm not usually one to harp on about aesthetics, the Fellow Aiden's all plastic body doesn't really do much to stand out from the other standard home coffee brewers on the market, where I think this works exceptionally well and much better than a lot of the others, no doubt about it. But I can't help that worry that some people might be swiping left on this machine purely based on its appearances without ever looking under the hood to see what it's really capable of. But it's not all doom and gloom either. There are 3 additional features that I haven't mentioned yet, and these are the scheduling features, the ability to connect to Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi with the Fellow Aiden app, and cold brewing. Got 45 seconds left. It's already stopped dripping though. Ooh, looks good. Super clean. The scheduling function allows you to have your coffee ready when you wake up, where you're able to select the days of the week, the time of the day, and the profile to brew, which I think is a must for any of these automated machines. The app, this makes fine-tuning all of those settings even easier. Rather than doing it through the small screen on the Fellow Aiden's UI, it's all done on your phone. Then there's the cold brew setting. which is more like cold drip coffee. So it will slowly drip room temperature water over those coffee grounds over an extended period of time, rather than the steeping the coffee grounds in the water together and then releasing the cold brew. And it also uses an initial hot water bloom to add richness to the cup, which is an interesting and refreshing brew method that I think deserves more explanation than I've done here for this review, since I've been enjoying this very good hot brew from the Fellow Aiden for now. But I am excited to dive into this very soon and we'll be back. In summary, the Fellow Aiden brings a lot to the table with its advanced features and consistent heating performance. While it may have a few quirks and some aesthetic shortcomings, I think it's a machine that's well worth its attention. If you're into precision brewing and enjoy automation whilst customizing your coffee experience, it might just become your go-to coffee brewer. Have you tried the Fellow Aiden yet? Or do you have any favorite features that you would like to see in a coffee maker just like this? Drop these in the comment section down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. We'll see you in the next one.